And we're live. Hey, everybody. Welcome into the Flippin' Hippos YouTube channel. I'm Star. Today is Tuesday, April 27th. If you're watching this between 7 p.m. and 8 p.m., it's live. If you're watching the replay, I appreciate you as well. Welcome in. Let's say hi to some people. Oh, if you're watching that, look at this. A amateur mistake. Robert's here, guys. He's got a blue wrench, so you can bug him. Della's here, Doreen, and there's Robert again. I was about to say hi, Robert, twice. Welcome in, guys. Danny's here. Welcome in. Thanks for showing up. We are rounding the corner into May, and after May comes June, and we're going to get ready for summer slowdown. So I think tonight's topic is pertinent as far as the summer slowdown, because it's very hard to stay motivated in the summer. But boo, amateur hour. Oh, by the way, congratulations, Robert, everybody. Robert reached 2,000 subs. So good job. And if you aren't subscribed to him, you should be, and get your friends to subscribe as well. Help him grow his channel. So let's see how many people are here before we get into the topic at hand. I kind of like to hang out and see who shows up first. So we'll just riff for a minute. So we are in the second quarter, and sales are kind of all over the place for us. I have seen, we had a slow weekend, but then we had like 10 sales today. We had a day of 15 last week. We had a day of 8. It's all over the place. Oh, thank you so much, Danny. I stopped in to say my boss is better than yours. So, yeah, thank you so much for the $4.99 super chat. And I still say that my boss is better than your boss. Lucille is here. Welcome in. Shelly's here. And you guys, Bill and David of Noman the Frog are here. They also have a blue wrench, so you can bother them if you need something as well. So sales are all over the place. I don't know what's going on. I don't think anything has been quote unquote normal since the onset of the shutdown. It's like life and reselling in general and everything has been divided into pre-COVID and after COVID, and just everything is weird. But here's the thing. Let's see how many people are here, because I'm just gonna jump in and start getting into it. If you miss anything, you can always go back and watch the replay. So here's what I've noticed recently. There are a lot of people who aren't motivated, who aren't feeling it, who are burned out, who don't want to do this or don't feel like they want to do this, or having struggles to reach their goals. I'm seeing post after post, not just in our group, but all over the Facebooks and the Instagram, that people are just kind of pooped out and just not feeling it. Hey, Marilyn. And the thing is, and Robert said this best. I'm gonna quote Robert a couple times tonight. You should never get tired of making money. I know that there's a lot of this job that is repetitious, that is mind-numbingly boring, doing the same thing over and over and over again. But at the end of the day, you're doing this to make money. You're doing this for the freedom of being your own boss and staying at home, not having to answer to anyone else, not having to go to a job and do what someone else tells you to do when they tell you to do it, clocking in at a specific time and clocking out, asking permission for days off, asking permission to go on a break. We're all doing this so that we can work from our own homes, be our own boss, and basically be in charge of our own destinies. And so even though there's parts of this job that are mind-numbingly boring, yes, and repetitious, and it just kind of gets like the same old thing, monotonous all the time, you're still doing it to make money and for that freedom. And I don't know about you, but I would rather do repetitious things at home for myself to make my own money than go somewhere else to line somebody else's pockets and help build somebody else's dreams. So when you feel like you're bored, remember who you're doing this for and why you're doing it. Hello, Sunday Funday, Pamela from Arizona. It was hotter here than it was in Arizona today. It was 80 degrees here. It was very nice, let me tell you. Danny says, I'm not getting the volume of sales that I want, but I've raised my average sale price from 24 at start of the year to 40. So I'm super happy for that. That's pretty awesome. We're still doing the volume game. So we got stuff that sells anywhere from $12 on up to 100. And that's just our business model. I will get blisters on my feet before I ever go back to work for someone else again. Pretty much. But yeah, I've been seeing a lot of people just feeling discouraged lately and saying they can't seem to get into or back into a rhythm and they're just not feeling it. So we're going to talk about that tonight. I hope that everyone is ready for some hard truths and some tough love. This is a topic that I really can't address with you guys if I don't get tough, if I don't give you some hard truths. And hard truths are hard to hear. They can be pretty, I don't know what the word I want is. The truth is hard to hear, you know, so when it's the truth, sometimes it's hard. And of course, I'm going to give you some tough love. So get ready for some sassy star, because I'm going to get sassy tonight. And I do it because I care. If I didn't care, I wouldn't do these videos, obviously. And I want everyone to succeed. I talked about that in last week's live show when I had Bill and David on. There's room at the top for all of us. It's very crowded at the bottom, but up here where all of the successful people are, there's a lot of room. And I want everyone to succeed, and I want everyone to make it. And at the end of the day, if I don't tell you the truth, when you're being poopy or dirty, I don't know what to tell you. Let's catch up on the chat. So, yeah, we're going to talk about how to beat that boredom and how to address what's going on. Hey, Jacob, welcome in. It's good to see you, too. It's been a hot minute. Hope you're doing good. So, Kim, what you need to do is figure out what you have available in your area. That's pretty much what do you have available to get your hands on. Keith and I have access to a lot of bread and butter items. We live in a very blue-collar, hard-working city in Pittsburgh. And when you go to the Goodwills here and the thrift stores here, there's an overabundance of 99-cent bread and butter brands and not so much the luxury goods. And that's what we've built on. And now we also have access to a lot of wholesale items that we can get for $2 or $1 a piece. And they're all going to be bread and butter usually as well. So we built a volume-based business, because if we only went after the average sale price of $25 or $40 or only went after high-end items, we would be listing 2 or 3 things maybe every other week. That's about how much we find of that stuff. So it's what you can get your hands on, what you have available to you, how much time you have to work. Is it part-time? Is it a hobby? Is it a full-time business? How much money you need to make at the end of the day? Shelly says she still wakes up almost every day excited to work. That's nice. I'm going through a burnout too, and we're going to talk about that. But Pete is trying to go to stay awake, not because Star is boring, but I've been working in the yard. Yard work is tiring. It's hot. You sweat. It's exercise. I mean, if you fall asleep, it's okay. You can always watch the replay. Shelly's here for the sassy. Hey, look at it. It's Victoria. Welcome in. I got to stay with my grandson 3 days a week and have my husband in for 2.5 days before he heads back to work in Tucson. I am originally born and raised in Tucson, by the way. So that's exciting. I like Tucson. All right. So buckle up, everyone. get comfortable. We're going to get into some hard truths and some tough love. And let me preface this with saying, like I always say when I get into topics that are hard, that will consist of some truth and tough love, if you hear what I have to say and it doesn't affect you, then you're probably doing something right. You're probably okay. If what I say makes you feel defensive or some type of way, or like you want to punch me in my sassy little face, you're probably feeling that way because I am hitting the nail on the head. My dad used to always tell me, when people say things around you that make you feel defensive, it's because they're hitting the truth. They're saying something that makes you feel defensive because you're doing something wrong. So if I make you feel some type of way or, upset with me or defensive, good. Take that and worry about why you feel that way and figure it out, what I said that upset you, and fix it. So the thing I think you got to find out first of all is why you're bored. Why are you burnt out? Why aren't you working? You can't fundamentally fix anything or make something work if you don't figure out why it's not working. So you have to find out what's going wrong, and then you can fix it. You can't just be like, well, I'm just going to start listing tomorrow, because you haven't figured out why you're not listing. You have to figure out what's going on. So here's some things. I want to give you guys some reasons behind why a lot of folks will get burnt out or bored or just not feel like working. And then we can talk about ways to fix those. I'm going to share with you ours, because Keith and I are at a point right now where we're over it all. We're over it all. And our reason is because we know that in 2-3 months, we're going to be leaving and starting over. My computer wants to restart. That is an awesome time to choose to restart. So let's say we're going to start at 3 a.m. Oh boy. Sorry guys. I don't understand why. Okay, there we go. Robert says he has too many different things to do to get burnt out, and that's a good mindset to have. But for us right now, we're just at a point where we're at this kind of standstill. I have to wait and see where my court case goes to figure out an exact date that we're leaving. I have one more hearing, and then it's all wrapped up for my workers' comp, for my back disability, in case you're wondering. We got some other things going on with family members and just some other things that we have to kind of wrap up and get taken care of before we can leave. But we know it's imminent. It's going to be in the next 2 months at the earliest, maybe 3 months. We're over Pennsylvania. We're over Pittsburgh. We're done. We don't like it here. We never have. And we're not particularly happy with our neighbors right now, or our landlord, and we just want to leave. We just want to pack up our house and leave. We know we're going to. We're excited. We want to start over. We want to go and buy a house down in Florida and start the next chapter in our life. So I think it's pretty normal for us at this situation, knowing, hey, in a couple of months, we're going to turn the page and start a whole brand new chapter. We're starting a whole brand new book, period. It's not just a chapter. We're going to be beginning a new life. And when you're kind of stuck in stasis in your old life and you're like, I just want it to be over with and I want to go, it's hard. I kind of am okay with still listing on eBay. I'm not so much burnt out on that. I'm burnt out on the pictures. I'm burnt out on YouTube. I just want to go. Really, I am so over this place. But I think that's pretty normal when you know that you're about to turn a corner. It's hard to stay in the old situation when the new one is around the horizon. It's kind of like, if you guys remember, have you ever like put in 2 weeks notice at a job that you liked? you liked the job. You didn't mind doing the work. And you may have been leaving for a very good reason. Maybe you left to start your own business, or maybe you left because you found a better job, or whatever reason. But I'm sure that we've all put in 2 weeks notice at an actual out of the house job before. And not necessarily a job that we hated, but we enjoyed it. And had you not put in the 2 weeks notice, you could have kept going and doing the work. But once you know you're leaving, you have to still get up and go and still do it. And you know it's over with. So that's where we're at. We're kind of just feeling burnt out, period. Not just on reselling and everything. We're just like, we're in stasis and it sucks big time. But yeah, I'm with you, Shelly. I'm ready. Short timer syndrome, short timer's disease. I have that. So that's, we figured out what's going on with us. I saw Colleen pop in. Hey, girlfriend. Deborah, hi. And we know. So we're just going to plug through. That's what we have to do. We just have to keep plugging through. And then once I have my last hearing and we figure we can wrap everything else up. We have some family stuff going on, but we'll get it taken care of and we'll be able to leave. And it'll be so great. So some other reasons that folks get bored, burnt out, or aren't working. I have 5 here that I was able to just come up with off the top of my head. But if you guys have any reasons that you want to add to this conversation, put it in the comments over there, okay? So slow sales, I think, is a huge reason people get defeated and why people feel discouraged. When sales are slow, it's really hard to stay motivated, right? Like, why should I keep listing? Why should I keep buying stuff? Why should I keep doing this when sales are so slow? That is the number one reason I think people get discouraged. I need that vitamin D, let me tell you. I just Googled short timers. I'm surprised that's a new term for me. Yeah. So I have that. But anyway, back to the list. So slow sales is one reason people get burnt out or discouraged or feel defeated. It's hard. It's hard to stay excited and keep doing something when it's not exciting or successful. And it's not just with reselling. I mean, just think about if you're playing a sport or a game and you constantly lose, you start to feel like, well, why am I doing this? I always feel like a loser. But when you're winning, when you're successful, you want to keep doing it. So the second one, I'm going to have to say a swear, guys, because the second reason people get burnt out, and this is why people like Robert don't get burnt out because they found a way around this. But when you're doing the same old shit every single day, it gets old. It's really boring. And you just don't want to keep doing the same old thing every day. And I think most of us probably felt that more at jobs that we actually had to go to rather than working from home. But it is quite possible, even being your own boss and reselling from home, to get in a rut like that. And to wake up and be like, oh, here we go again. Same old thing. And we're going to address ways to fix all of these. I just want to talk about each reason I have here first. Life gets in the way, right? So that can be anything from having a sick pet to kids that are constantly busy with activities that you have to drive them to and fro, and it's eating into your time to work, to having a sick family member. Somebody may have died. Somebody may be dying. You could have a friend going through a divorce. I mean, life encompasses everything. And there's everything from just, maybe you are fighting with your kids on a small scale to the big things of life, like divorce and death. But life can really get in the way sometimes. And when you're not at your best, you can't be at your best, right? And I tell you guys that all the time about how to take time off and recharge your batteries, and getting yourself situated and centered. Because if you don't feel good, you can't be good for anybody else. You have to be in a healthy mental mindset, you have to take care of yourself, or you can't be a good friend, you can't be a good wife, you can't be a good husband, you can't be a good mom or dad, you can't be a good businesswoman or man. You have to take care of yourself. And when life starts to happen and stuff starts to fall apart around you, no matter how small, trivial you think it is, or how big, those are your problems and they're real to you. So I always tell people, even if you feel like, oh, well, my problems are really small compared to somebody whose mom died. Yeah, but they're your problems and they're happening to you. And every day when you wake up, you have to deal with them. So they can get in the way and they can be pretty big. And it's important to recognize that. Now, these last two reasons, I think, are going to be the ones that people don't like. And again, if you have any thoughts or reasons why you think people get burnt out or bored, put them over there. We'll talk about it. Yeah, there you go. When you're busy with the kids, you get tired. The dreaded hamster wheel. Yeah. So the fourth reason is you're just lazy. There's that tough love. Are you lazy? Can you recognize that about yourself if you are, and find a way to accept that you're lazy, but a way to motivate yourself in spite of that? Money's a pretty good motivator, right? Freedom is a pretty good motivator. I'm not a lazy person. I'm actually the type of person who wants to go, and I can't anymore because of my disability. And so I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I get frustrated because I can't do as much as I'd like to. Before I got injured at work and became disabled, I used to work 80 to 100 hours a week. I worked 80 to 100 hours a week. I was an overachiever. I was a workaholic. I loved my job. I loved only coming home to sleep. I loved being busy all the time. I loved making the money and setting it aside and setting up savings accounts for the kids and stuff. I loved it. I had a very busy life. And boom, I'm in a situation where, well, I might have just taken pictures for half an hour to an hour and I'm done. My body is telling me this is it and I have to go lay down. So I'm the opposite. But some people are lazy. And if you're lazy, just admit it to yourself at least and find a way around it. And then I guess the fifth reason is you just don't like money or freedom. Because if you're really doing this and you're not doing enough and you're not making enough money and you continue to do the same bad behavior patterns over and over again of not listing, not sourcing, not doing what you need to do, if you continue to do that over and over again, then what are you doing? Do you not like to make money? Do you not like to pay your bills? Do you not like to eat? Because I like to eat. I'm like a little hobbit. I like all my meals. But yeah, if you're continually and there are some people that I see over and 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 over again every single day. I got up and I didn't feel like working, so I just took the day off. I got up and I just didn't feel it today. What are you doing? Do you not want to have freedom? Do you want to put yourself in a position where you have to go back out and get a job again? If that's what you want, I guess. Unfortunately, not everyone is self-motivated enough or has enough gumption to be self-employed and run their own business, and that's okay. Not everybody has the right personality for it or the right drive. Some people need to go to a job every day and have someone delegate to them their tasks and tell them what to do. Some people just can't be motivated to work from home and make themselves get up and work every day. And if that's your personality type, okay, but admit it already and go back to work and stop crying every single day about how you're not working and you're not getting any sales, because you know why you're not getting any sales. It's because every single day I see you on your Instagram and in the Facebook groups, the same people over and over who aren't doing their job who aren't listing. Let me address the chat real quick. I work hard on Tuesday. Yep. And see, that's that kind of mindset you need to have is when you recognize that things are getting in your way and they're part of life and you can't change them, then you rearrange your schedule and your work around it. That's a good mindset to have. Yes, it's really frustrating when I think I want to work 16 hours a day like all these other successful resellers. And I'm like, that's not realistic. It's not. I have to deal with my own physical limitations. But thankfully, in 2021, we have these things, right? So I can, lay on my heating pad or take a pain pill and lay down and still work on my phone a little bit. I don't have to completely stop working when I need to take a break, but so you just need to comp items until you learn. That's pretty much what you got to do, Kim. Figuring out pricing standards comes with time and experience. So I used to have to comp every single item, and it took more time. And eventually I got to a point where I was listing like the same brands of jeans over and over, or the same types of plush, and I don't have to comp them anymore. But that just comes with experience and time and doing the same things over and over. Hey, thanks for stopping in, Albert family. Welcome. I would rather go shopping than list. So I like to tell people, if you find that you're shopping more than you're listing or working, you're not a reseller. You're either a shopper or a hoarder. Period. There's some more tough love for you. So if you feel overwhelmed and like there's too much going on, you definitely need to set up routines and you need to make to-do lists. And you just need to get yourself into a routine where you're doing, this chunk of work in the mornings, this chunk at night, this chunk on Tuesdays, this chunk on Thursdays, whatever you can set up around your own life, because everybody's lives are different and we all have different responsibilities and family sizes and whatever. But once you can get into a routine, if you know you're taking your kids to soccer every Tuesday, maybe Tuesday is the day you don't work as hard and you make up for it on Wednesday or whatever. But you got to get in those routines and you got to make to-do lists. You have to keep yourself on track. Successful people all have to-do lists. The listing price should just be in the middle somewhere. And honestly, like what I like to tell people, if you're listing something that I list, or Robert or Megan Mawini or Rockstar, check our stores. Just go off of what we're doing. Delta Ray Studios, welcome in. Listing sounds wonderful. Yeah, whenever I have to clean, I get really resentful. Because it's really hard for me and I have to adjust to doing things differently and maybe not as much. I'm a perfectionist and I also have OCD, so I can't clean the way I used to either. And good enough has to be good enough. And then it's always hard and tiring, and I'm like, I would do anything to be sitting in my chair sharing Posh. I hate sharing Posh. It's tedious, but at least I'm sitting in a chair and I'm comfortable, right? Being organized, even if you don't have the extra space or an extra room. Some folks don't. Some folks are working out of like 1-bedroom apartments or whatever. But once you're organized, that helps a lot. It really helps a lot. Hunter is excited about selling at the flea market this weekend. First experience. Well, I think you'll have fun. I think you'll enjoy yourself. Bill and David sell at the flea market, and they absolutely love it. To-do lists. To-do lists. New monthly listing goals have helped me in the bullet journal. Yes. I cannot stress enough how much it helps when you start writing things down. and when you get into a routine. I cannot stress enough. Yeah, they mean free listings. So if you have 250 free listings, it's free to list them. There's no like 10 cent or whatever fee to list them. But when they sell, you will still have your fees to pay on them. And how much your final value fee is going to be is based on what store subscription you have or don't have, and if you're top rated seller. So you can research all that. I did pick up a dot journal. Awesome. I never had any help, and if I don't get things done, I don't eat. And I don't have a house, so no excuse. Yep. I'm pretty much unhireable at this point. There's no way. First of all, my personality and my mindset right now, I could never go back to work for somebody else. I've tasted the freedom and I love it. But I also can't lift anything over 5 pounds. So I couldn't even be a successful like receptionist because those boxes of printer paper are heavy and I have to take a lot of breaks. I just wouldn't last. And so if we would like to continue living our dreams, me and Keith, I've got to do this. So, hello, McFly. Any idea or stats on having a large listing amount? I have no idea what you mean by that question. Sorry. If you can rephrase it, apparently I'm brain farting right now. I don't know. All right. So once you've established what's bothering you, why you're bored, why you're burnt out, why you're not working, then you can address it and fix it or work around it, right? So ways to fix it, right? Number 1, you should never get tired of making money. I can't say that enough. When Robert put that in the group the other day, I was like, that is the best thing he's ever said. You should never get tired of making money because there will always be bills to pay. There will always be groceries to buy. If you have kids, grandkids, pets, family members, you're always going to need money to get them things too. You're always going to have things happen to your car you're going to have to pay for, or to the house if you own and don't rent. But there's always going to be a need for money. It's not about being greedy. There's absolutely nothing wrong with aspiring to make more money and move up in life. If you just started reselling and you have a beater car with the muffler dragging on the road, there is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to make more money to buy a better car. There's nothing wrong if you're renting an apartment to want to make enough money to buy a home. I get from people all the time that are hateful towards me and rude comments. Oh, you're just greedy. All you talk about is making more money. Yeah, because people should be bettering themselves. It's not about greed. There's absolutely nothing wrong with wanting to better your situation and better your life, and maybe those are the ones you love around you as well. And there's always going to be, even if you're not working towards paying off a debt or college tuition, even if you're not working towards a home or a better car, there's always going to be reasons for money. You've got to go to the grocery store and buy food. You've got to pay your bills. Things happen all the time where you've got to come up with money. Emergencies happen. You should have a savings. You should have capital built up. So there's nothing wrong with wanting to make money or wanting to make more money or aspiring to make your life better. I don't see it as greed. I just see it as growing as a person. So, after I got stuck on the floor. Listen, when I first hurt my back, I used to get stuck in bed. I had to sleep in a recliner for like 2 years because I would get stuck in the bed like a turtle. I'd be on my back and I couldn't get up and it hurt so bad. So I slept in a recliner for 2 years until we got a better bed, and my back was a little bit better, and I can sleep now and get out of bed. There's still days where I get stuck and I'm yelling like a little turtle. Kee! Nothing like being disabled, right? Your hoopty is my best route. I personally would never spend a lot of money on a car. I could have $1 million in the bank and I'd have a $2,000 1990 beater car. That's just me. I think everyone has like the one or two things that they are willing to spend money on, and everything else they just bargain. At least that's how I see it. Yeah, so skipping days is bad, and we know why, because an active store is a happy store. You need to be listing every day. Listing on eBay is equivalent to sharing on Poshmark. So if you don't share on Poshmark, you're not selling. If you don't list on eBay, you're not selling. If anyone is mean to my Colleen, you're so cute. I love you. Is it best to have a store that sells one type? I don't think so, because honestly, people aren't even paying attention to where they're buying from on eBay. The chance of getting a return customer is very small, and people don't pay attention to where or who they're buying from. They're just searching for what they're looking for and then purchasing it. So you can have a mixed store. It's less to keep track of. Hey, that's awesome. So yeah, visual boards and things like that help as well. Putting your goal where you can see it. I've talked about that before, like putting your goal somewhere in your office so you can look at it, whatever you're working for. Oh, thank you so much, Marilyn. I appreciate that. Thank you. But having your goals where you can see them. When we move, when we get settled in down in Florida, when we get our house and everything, I want 2 gerbils, I think. Very, very side note. I don't know if I've publicly shared it or not, but my pet hamster died in January. So I lost Emmy, and I'm not getting another pet till we move. But I can't decide between guinea pigs and gerbils, but I have a little picture of rodents that I look at so I can remember when we move, I get new rodents. So whatever you're working for. There's some tough love from Robert, guys. Some tough love from Robert coming in. If having a roof over your head and food to eat isn't motivation enough for you, sorry, I can't help you. I kind of feel that way sometimes too. So you should be listing new stuff every single day. And if you are ending items, you should be selling similar. You should not be relisting. Selling similar is a whole new listing. So, but you should be listing new stuff every day. Because if something hasn't sold yet and you're ending it to sell similar, that item hasn't sold yet. It's been sitting already. Putting something new in will be more helpful. Thank you guys. I appreciate it. My 17-year-old is listing items on my account. Yeah, get your kids involved if you can. Get your friend, get people involved. I think that the reason we're so successful and we are doing so well is because both of us jumped in on this together. So, yeah, it was really rough, and that's probably why I didn't talk about it publicly. But she is buried at Keith's grandparents, and she's under a pretty rock that we painted for her, and they're going to plant some flowers on top of her. So anyway, we don't want to talk about that. So ways to fix reasons why you're bored, burnt out. If it's because if it's because of slow sales, what Robert said is perfect. Slow sales should make you more motivated because you want to sell more, you want to make more money. If sales are slow, if you start listing more, your sales should increase, even during summer slowdown. When summer slowdown happens, Keith and I usually double down. So let's say we list 30 to 40 items a day collectively between the two of us normally. When summer slowdown hits, we'll bump it up to 60 between the two of us. And our sales will start to pick up. So when you allow slow sales to discourage you and keep you from working, you're compounding the problem. Because if you're not active, you're not selling. An active store is a happy store you have to list every single day. If you feel like you're doing the same old shit every single day and you're bored, do something different. Do something different, you guys. I love Plush, but I'm going to tell you, sometimes after, 10 days in a row of photographing and listing Plush, I feel cross-eyed. And I'm like, I love Plush. They're my favorite, but geez, 10 days in a row. So I'll switch to jeans, or I'll ask Keith, hey, do you have any of your wholesale t-shirts or your remotes or something I can do that's a little bit different? And I shake it up a little bit. Or crosspost, get on a different platform. When I get really burned out with just doing the same old thing over and over, and I'm on eBay every day, and maybe instead of listing 20 items on eBay a day, I'll list 10 a day and focus on cross-posting to Poshmark and Mercari for a couple of weeks. Or I'll switch to a different item. So it's really easy to diverse yourself. Get out there on more platforms, try different items. Don't lock yourself into one item over and over again. That's where people get burned out. That is absolutely, absolutely correct. You are in charge of your future, and it's in your power to fix the slow times. No one else is in power of your future when you work for yourself. We have around 2,000. We don't typically ever drop below 2,000. We usually hover between 21 to 2,400. So over 2,000. Like, we hover between 21 and 2,400. However, as we get ready to move across the country to Florida, we may be dropping down to about 1,000 just for the move. I know we're taking all of our remotes out. We're going to wholesale those off. We've been dropping stuff here and there, just because it'll be less inventory to move. So our store may drop down to about 1,000 listings, but for forever, as far as I can remember, since we first built it up, we always hovered around 21 to 2,200. We were up to almost 3,500 at one point when we were trying to get an anchor store, but then we decided that wasn't for us. So I've now experienced summer slowdown. It was skewed by COVID. But is it more of a clothing thing, or is it cross category? So it's a lot of it is for the used clothing sellers. The summer slowdown hits the used clothing sellers really hard. Our Q4 for used clothing is typically first quarter into the beginning of second quarter, when folks are getting their tax returns. That's when we see a lot of sales, and the summer slowdown will really hit them. I sell a lot of Plush in the summer, though. So it's good to have different types of stuff. I buy my cars off the side of the road. When one breaks down, I start looking for... Exactly. And I love Chevys, and Cobalts are the best. Chevy Cobalts were the best cars I've ever had. Right now we have a Buick Century. I actually got for free. Real quick side note. On my birthday in 2017, so a year after I'd gotten injured, I had just bought another, I don't remember what it was. I had the dang thing for a day, and I was sitting at a stoplight on my way to the Benz, and somebody rear-ended me, a huge semi-truck. This guy was like on the clock working, and he was coming up an on-ramp, and he wasn't paying attention, and he hit me, and I'm sitting at the stop sign. It was a hot mess. It screwed up my workers' comp case. I had to go see all these doctors and testify, and don't ever get in a car accident when you're suing someone for workers' comp. But that was a mess. But the company that he was driving for didn't want to deal with anything. They just wanted to shut it down and like make it go away. So they gave me a ton of money. And I had someone come and pick up the totaled car. They gave me like a couple $100 for parts on it. And then I was able to just buy this car outright. And it's been great. And I think it's a 95. And you can get from Pittsburgh to St. Augustine, Florida on one tank of gas. This car is amazing. It's amazing. Anyway, I love beater cars and I love older cars, like the heavy cars that weren't made out of plastic and all that stuff. I find they have better gas mileage and stuff back then too. I lived in North Carolina for like 5 years already before, and my entire family is Southern. It just so happens that we lived in Arizona growing up, but I do love the South. Yep, change it up and you'll be excited. I didn't have jeans for a long time, and when I finally got into they're all gone now. I finished them. I got so excited. But I had 4 thread-up boxes I had to finish before we start getting ready to move, and I was so excited and I blew through them, but I hadn't had them in a while. I think we have a good plan. So I think we'll be all right. So, okay, the other thing is if life gets in the way, you just have to work around it, period. You can't, there are things that you can't change. And like I said earlier, life can be anything as trivial as I have a teenage daughter who likes to slam her door and scream at me, all the way to losing a parent or a pet, death, divorce, those big ones that happen. But we can't change it. If your kids want to be in activities, that's great. Let them be in activities, but you're going to have to change your routines and your work around it. So when life starts to get in the way and you notice that you're not working because life is in the way, you're going to have to change your routines. You're going to have to change your work schedule. But that's the beautiful part about being your own boss. You can work when you want. And if this really matters to you, if you really want to pay your rent and keep a roof over your head and you want to keep eating and you want to keep paying your bills, you will work when you have to. Period. If you have to stay up all night or whatever it takes, you will do it. Yeah, not exactly home, but my family's all from North Carolina, Mississippi. I'm trying to remember. They were all Southern. My entire family is Southern. And then my mom met my dad in Arizona, and they found out, oh, all of our families are Southern. And so I was raised by Southerners in Arizona. That's why y'all hear me say y'all and stuff. Anyway, that's a side note. I do like the South a lot. I read a lot of cozy mysteries by authors that write in the South. I love them. I don't know, because we have like 5 or 6 open at any time because we call bluffs. We absolutely do not give any money back until they return the item. And so when they try for partials or whatever, we always tell them you're going to have to open a return. And a lot of them will go ahead. Well, a lot of them just go away. I would say at least 50% of folks go away and you never hear from them again. And the other 50% that actually opens a return case, maybe 10% actually sends them back. So at any given time, we probably have like 5 to 10 open return cases and only 1 or 2 will come back maybe. But they have to sit there and go through the process before they close out. And I don't really think it affects us because they're always there. Hey, Dom is in the house. What's up? Keep on keeping on. So we talked about being more motivated with slow sales, shaking it up, making things different to keep yourself from getting bored. If life happens to get in the way, you just have to rearrange life, work around life. If you're lazy, I don't know what to tell you. If you're a lazy person, admit that you're lazy and find a way around it. Make to-do lists and make yourself work from the top to the bottom. Make your to-do list from most important to least important and start at the top and cross things off as you go. When you're a lazy person, it's best to just admit it and find ways to force yourself to work. And again, like I mentioned before, there are some people that just can't work for themselves. It takes a special kind of personality, a special kind of drive, a special kind of motivation. And if you don't have it, there's really nothing wrong with that. Some people need to go to work and be delegated. It's fine. Just admit it and quit spending all your money shopping and never listing anything. If you're just building up tons of piles, you're a shopper, you're not a reseller. That's just the way you're gonna have to look at it. Consider joining our listing challenge. You have to be in the Facebook group to participate right now. I was doing a YouTube video every weekend for checking in, but I just don't have the time for that with everything going on. So in the Facebook group, Robert, if you don't mind, if you're not busy, could you put a link to the Facebook group? It's called Flippin' Hippos Reseller Pod. In the announcement section, there is a check-in where you can check in. Every week I update April's check-in number 2, number 3. So it's weekly. People check in or they join where they're at. You don't have to join at the beginning of April to be part of April's listing challenge. You can join in the second week, third week. So there's a new post every Saturday or Sunday. I update it. And people just come in and they talk about what their goals are, if they've made them, if they haven't. A big part of being successful is figuring out good goals to have. If you're consistently not meeting them, there's a reason and you need to figure it out. You need to hold yourself accountable. Admitting in public that this is what I want to do and telling folks that this is what I intend to do usually makes people more motivated because you've told the whole world your goals. So, well, not the whole world, but the whole Hippos Facebook group. So consider joining a listing challenge like that. Consider getting an accountability partner. If you've made a friend in the reseller world, hey, ask them, do you want to hold me accountable this week to 10 listings a day? And I'll hold you accountable to yours, and you check in with each other, motivate each other throughout the day, maybe send each other messages, maybe take breaks together and FaceTime and talk about what you're doing. There's, something to be said for making friends in the reseller world. They can definitely motivate you and help you get through your day. Games. Play games. I think every Friday, so every weekend I put a check-in for the listing challenge. We do one every month. Every Friday, Robert puts in a challenge on Friday night for the weekend for folks that want to have some kind of a game or challenge on the weekend to list. Robert does that in the group as well. So there's all kinds of opportunity to participate in competitions and games and stuff in the group. You can always feel free to start one yourself or find a friend. I definitely think there's lazy people. I definitely have met lazy people and I've seen them. There's lazy people. Trying something new with your goals if are not being met. Yep, because things can get boring. What is the typical pay? I mean, that's a whole topic in and of itself. A whole video. I think that was actually the topic of Casey's live show last week. I honestly wouldn't recommend paying anyone hourly because people milk the clock. I know some folks pay like $1.50 an item. Personally, I'm too much of a control freak, so I don't think I'll ever have employees. Hey, thanks, Mary. Welcome in. Yep, Robert does the weekend challenges. They're pretty fun. I don't participate in them because the weekends is when I take it easy, and I'm dealing with the whole move. But they look like they're fun, and I hope to participate once we get stuff settled. But, yep, refocusing can clear the cobwebs. 50 to 100 a week is easy. Really, you could do 10 a day and take 2 days off, right? And then make sure you're rewarding yourself. Human beings are funny in that we like to be rewarded for a job well done. We're taught from a very young age about consequences, There's good consequences and there's bad consequences, and we're taught that from children growing up. We would get punished when we were bad, and we would get treats and rewards when we were good. And the human mind is accustomed to that. So if you're not working, you're not paying your bills, that's your consequence. But try rewarding yourself. Try bribing yourself. It really, really, really works. Tell yourself, if I get up in the morning and I do X, Y, and Z, then I get to take a break at lunch and watch an episode of my favorite show, read a chapter of a book, or something while I'm eating that I enjoy doing. Promise yourself that if you hit your listing goal this week, you'll take yourself out to dinner to your favorite restaurant. Or maybe you get to sit down with an adult cocktail beverage or a piece of chocolate or an ice cream tonight because you listed all day or did whatever you were supposed to be doing. But consider bribing yourself for sure and rewarding yourself along the way. So every time you hit your goals, give yourself something. Like train yourself like Pavlov's dogs, that ding, ding, ding. And get yourself accustomed to rewards, and they don't even have to cost money. Like literally, I check out books from the library because I could not afford to support my reading habit. I read a lot, and that's mostly what I reward myself with. I get to sit down and read a chapter with my lunch. I get to take off an hour early and go read my new book. I love to read. I love shows and movies and stuff, and that's how I tell myself, like, if I work hard all week, I take Friday night off, and Keith and I watch movies, and we get to go out to eat. But if I don't hit my goals or work hard, I've got to work Friday night. I want to do that. I want to watch movies, right? So I work all week. Rewarding yourself really, really works. And then make sure that you are taking a break. I think some people burn themselves out because they're working too much. 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. You can get burnt out. Again, I know I mentioned this at the beginning, but you have to recharge your own batteries. You have to take care of yourself before you're good for anything else. If you're not taking a break and recharging yourself, you cannot be energetic for your job. You can't be a good friend, parent, spouse, partner, or whatever. You've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take a break. Pick a day and take the day off every week, even if it's only half a day. I know that some folks are definitely workaholics and love to work. I used to be one of them before I got hurt. I told you, I used to work 80 to 100 hours a week in my job. I'd pick up every shift I could. I loved it. But you'll burn yourself out. So, if you are definitely a workaholic and you don't like to take time off, force yourself to at least half a day. Take off early on Fridays and play hooky and go out to dinner and take care of yourself. Take care of yourself because no one else will. And if you overwork yourself, you're not going to be good for anybody. Not for your business, not for yourself, not for your family, and not for your friends. So I don't know how you're going to list 150 items a day, Frank, unless you're just listing on Amazon. That doesn't seem very realistic for eBay one-off listings with photos and everything. So be careful. Don't burn yourself out, like I just said. Thank you so much. Thank you, Pete. Pete stayed awake for the whole show, too. She came in so tired, and she stayed awake. That's great. Oh, that's all I have to say to you guys. Make sure you work. Find out what's going on when you don't want to work and a way to fix it. I think at the end of the day, the biggest obstacle is that we get bored. We get bored and we get burnt out, and we're not rewarding ourselves, and we're not taking time off, and we're not changing it up. So that's what you need to do, guys. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, for spending an hour with me, for listening. I hope that something I said will help you guys in some way, shape, or form. I just really want to see everyone succeed. There is definitely room at the top for all of us. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up before you leave. It really helps the channel so much. Make sure you're subscribed. Hit the little bell so you're notified when I put out new content. And don't forget to join the Facebook group. We do a lot of challenges and listing challenges and like games and stuff in there that really help us all stay motivated. So join that. And I guess until next time, go be productive, go make some money. And again, thank you guys so much for watching. You guys are the best, and we appreciate your continued support on the channel. Love you guys. Bye.